I was incredibly grateful that it was all on the page there for me, and that they were so receptive to ideas that I was able to sort of insert in very small ways.
I loved Bros.
Thank you.
Billy, I am fascinated by the script collaboration between you and Nick. I love how you said, you didn't know how to write a movie, and he did not have necessarily the tools to write this authentically. Mm-hmm. So now at the other end of it, are you going to be writing movies?
Yeah, I've signed up to write a few more movies. One I'm writing with Paul Rudnick. But yeah, my collaboration with Nick was not without its challenges for both of us. We're very different people. But I think ultimately the movie was really better for it because it really is the product of this great alchemy, and we had Judd Apatow producing as well. Judd and Nick have made some of the funniest, most heartwarming movies of the past 20 years, Bridesmaids and 40-Year-Old Virgin, Superbad, and Trainwreck, and Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And I wanted to make a movie like that, but one that happens to be about a gay couple and with LGBTQ characters because we've never gotten that. So Nick walked me through the process of making a major studio comedy, and I taught him about gay culture in order to make the movie as authentic as possible, which was very important to me. Mm-hmm. We've had a lot of movies and shows which kind of like walk on eggshells around the gay characters' lives, or maybe we're not as multidimensional as we could be or should be, and I really wanted this to be the exception to that. And it was a beautiful collaboration at the end of the day.
And it was a beautiful final product. So
thank you.
Wonderful job. Luke, speaking of multi-dimensions, of course, it's great to see Aaron being like the broiest bro that we've ever seen. And yet he has this hidden layer, this depth, intelligence. How did you approach the character and make him as multidimensional as you did?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'm just so grateful that that was part of the script. I mean, that I got to do that whole thing. So often the character that is shut down about their sexuality ends up doing something horrific and violent. Mm-hmm. And instead, at the end of this movie, he was able to fall in love. And the lesson is when you take away that sort of body, that physicality, that anger, that muscle, it can actually lead to love. And don't just keep packing on the muscle and then eventually you'll get in a street fight and win. So, I mean, I was incredibly grateful that it was all on the page there for me and that they were so receptive to ideas that I was able to sort of insert in very small ways.
I love how this is a rom-com, but it breaks away, obviously, from heteronormative tropes and traditions while still calling back to some of the greats, even with things like the score. Yeah. So what are the greats for you? Which rom-coms have,
Oh, man, I grew up loving romantic comedies, and I grew up in an era unlike now where you got great romantic comedies in the movie theater pretty regularly, something we took for granted, because now it never happens, and they're one of my favorite genres. I loved Moonstruck and When Harry Met Sally, Annie Hall, Working Girl, Tootsie. Broadcast News is probably my favorite. I really love Holly Hunter's character in that movie, and she was actually a big inspiration for my character in Bros a little bit, just in terms of being very capable at her job, very outspoken, extremely confident, thinking and knowing, probably rightfully so, she's the smartest person in the room, and yet she still is a human being and falls for the handsome idiot played by William Hurt. Now, Aaron, Luke's character, is not an idiot at all, but I loved the idea that you had such a strong, self-reliant character in that movie, especially the way Holly played her with such strength and confidence, and yet she still was human. She still fell for the wrong guy because he's so charismatic and charming. And I think that's very human and very relatable. And I loved how complicated the characters in that movie were.
I've been thinking a lot about Notting Hill as we do these press junkets.
Yeah.
Maybe someone I'll fall in love with when they sit down in this chair.
Yeah.
I love that.
Hide and Hound? What is it?
Oh, yes.
What is the name of the... Horse and Hound.
Horse and Hound.
They're after you.
Bros got 4 stars in Horse and Hound. Yes. They thought the end was a little conventional, but yeah.
Bros will certainly be up in that echelon in the future. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Have a great day.